tweet that. Okay, we are live. We're talking about tweeting out this.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong link.
No, it's okay. I'll catch it off of your retweet. It's fine.
Yeah. So actually, I'm like, God, bewildered here. So anyway, guys, we are talking about Aquaman. Yes.
Aquaman.
Yeah. The guy he's been made fun of, talked about in Entourage, you name it. Final first pictures of Aquaman are here. Director Zack Snyder decided to just drop this photo on us late last night.
Last night.
Yeah, around 10:52 a.m. P.m. And I was still up, and I saw this, and I was like, "Whoa, seriously? Is this what I'm thinking it is?" And yeah, here it is. That's it right there. That is Aquaman right there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm like having some difficulties here.
Yeah, Hangouts has been flaking on us this entire setup.
Jason Momoa is Aquaman, and he sent out this photo. He tweeted out this photo with the caption "Unite the Seven," and you can see Aquaman there. Let me give you another photo that actually is without the wording there, so you guys can take a better look at it. And this is somebody scrubbed it to actually take out the wording. So that is your Aquaman right there. And you can see just Momoa has a lot of tats, but they've also added some more tribal tats on him. Mm. And some people say he looks like Rob Zombie, which he kind of does.
He kind of does. But I mean, like, if we're going through that phase of Aquaman from the comic books where he kind of looked like Rob Zombie.
Yeah, that is. So I read some stuff on, our favorite friends, The Verge, and they kind of poo-pooed it a little bit, saying, this is a little darker and this and that. And I'm like, you guys haven't read the comic book, so keep quiet. Aquaman has gone.
So many people have been expecting, like, the Entourage, kind of joke image of Aquaman as a movie.
Exactly.
Character.
Which actually goes to what Zack Snyder. So let me just read a quote from Zack Snyder from last year, around August. He called into a radio show in Detroit that was poo-pooing Aquaman, and this is what he said. He said, I don't want to give anything away about the movie or anything like that, but Aquaman has some cool abilities that I think people are like, what does he talk to animals? Because that seems like what he does, or fish, whatever. The cool thing is Aquaman's trident, people don't realize this, can cut Superman's flesh if it came in contact with him. That thing is in the canon. He's super strong because he can exist at the super depths, of course, down in the ocean. And so when he comes up here, he's crazy strong. Not to say he's in my movie or anything. He has the potential to be a badass. That's all I'm saying. So you can see Zack Snyder was, he likes Aquaman. It's probably one of his favorite characters, and he's like, I'm tired of people just dissing my dude. So and he just gave us that really awesome, badass looking Aquaman. Now it's a trident, but according to latest DC comics, the trident has like 4 prongs now instead of 3,
which makes it not a trident.
I know, right? Yeah, and you can see this has 4 prongs up there. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the look of Aquaman?
Well, I mean, this is going back to what we were talking about when we started doing Hangouts on how the DC movie franchise is expanding. And it really does seem that as a general production ethic, they're taking almost all of their lessons from Christopher Nolan's work on The Dark Knight. We're going to go dark, we're going to go gritty, we're going to go edgy, and those are the flavors of characters that they're looking to pull from for Superman. I'm assuming we'll probably see a sort of maybe a New Frontiers era Wonder Woman, and that also is bleeding into the depiction of Aquaman, because I mean it's very much like let's see if I can do a screen share without Hangouts. But it's it's this era of Aquaman that I think is kind of what they're drawing from, and it's I think this is actually one of my favorite depictions of Aquaman.
That is.
It actually does some justice to the character, and it elevates Aquaman above being sort of an also-ran. This isn't a Namor or Submariner. Aquaman, I think, is a legit member of this DC community, and being able to go toe-to-toe with characters like Superman, Martian Manhunter, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah. No, that's very true. I agree with that depiction, and I think you're right that they are pulling from their from the Nolan verse in terms of look. You can see with Wonder Woman here, darker. Even just the imagery around it makes it feel darker.
Hmm.
Superman here, even though the colors are brighter, they're actually brighter than the first
But
movie.
how could you
But
tell when the skies are blacked
yeah, the
out?
scars are I mean, you can tell just because like the red actually pops out more than the previous one. But
Right.
you can see that it's still dark, and then Batman is just dark.
Love it.
and and then you have Aquaman here, who, of course, I mean, I do like it because I think Aquaman is one of those characters that, again, you have to almost do something like this because of how
Yeah.
much people are. You just he talks to fish, yeah, that's his only power, and you're like, and again, using what he said, like, if he lives that deep in the ocean, he has to be very strong because pressure going down that deep and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
If you're gonna do the, how like in Man of Steel they went with the pseudoscience aspect of
Yeah.
things in there. So if you're gonna do that, you're gonna at least show that he is capable of it. So that goes well. But so what do you think about the lettering or the hashtag that he came up with Unite the Seven? Of course, some people are like, well, Aquaman's the king of the seven seas, but as comic book fans, we all know it's Justice League pretty
Well,
much.
that's what I thought was great is that it works on both levels. It's a floor wax and a dessert topping. I'm aboard. Let's do this. No, so I think things like that are fun. I mean, when you can kind of introduce a little mystery into what might be coming down the pipe, because I mean, so much of this is going to be ruined by trailers and promotional materials and interviews, and we're gonna lap it up. I mean, we
Yeah.
want to know everything that we can get about these things, but when you walk into the theater, a lot of our surprises are going to be given away. So if you can tease us a little, you can create some mystery, some anticipation. I think it bodes really well for the narrative outside of the film. Like when we talk about these properties outside of the actual movies that we get to see. So I thought that was a fun way to just kind of twist the knife a little bit. We're there's an obvious meaning for this, and then there's a less obvious meaning for this, and I think that's the fun thing about being a fan of this kind of content, especially when people producing this content are also fans of this kind of content.
Oh no, it's very true. I think it goes a long way. And the funny thing, especially with the DC characters, that we know some of the actors who are part of the universe. Like, say, for instance, like The Rock. We
Hmm.
still don't know how he would look like as. That's the funniest one because The Rock talks about Black Adam on a constant basis.
Yeah.
And we have no idea. I mean, granted, his movie, or at least when he will show up, is down the line. But
Hmm.
he's always like, yeah, oh yeah, Black Adam's gonna be that anti-hero dude. There might be some good side in him, but he really is gonna kick ass and beat Superman up and blah 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 that. And you're like, okay, we know how big you are, The Rock, but we still don't know how you look as Black Adam. And
Right.
he's just there. It's almost like, and to me, that's one of the best marketing employees DC could pull, is pull someone like The Rock, who's comfortable at talking about stuff without having to show anything for
Yeah.
a while. And you can go, hey, just once in a while, just talk about how Black Adam will kick ass. That's cool. It's fine.
And again, coming from someone like Dwayne Johnson, I buy it.
Yeah.
I buy that he'll also be able to do like his own stunts, and that the combination of stunts and Zack Snyder's like speed ramping CG tricks for action sequences will probably work out really well.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too that puts this in perspective is looking at like all the Marvel stuff, and or maybe wait, before I even go, do you think this is a direct retaliation by Zack Snyder after Samuel L. Jackson's comment saying that people are not excited about DC stuff? That came out like a couple of days ago, maybe 4 days ago or
You
something
know
like
what?
that.
I mean, like if it had been like the very next day, maybe I would say it was a direct reply. But here, I think it's just what we're seeing is the constant. It's the same sort of playful antagonism, or maybe not so playful, but the same antagonism that we saw from the comic book. I mean, when all of this media only existed as comic books,
Yeah.
we've always had this sort of debate between the DC universe and the Marvel universe, and people pick sides. I mean, it's a pretty visceral battle, just like Star Trek or Star Wars or Apple versus Mac. I mean, Mac versus PC. We identify with these characters and we care about these characters. So we're gonna talk trash. And we're gonna talk a lot. But I think this is just I don't know that this is a direct response to what Sam Jackson said, but I think that this is just the escalating arms race of how we're going to, kind of talk about things. Because Marvel has such a proliferation of
Yeah.
content out there right now. Not just with movies, but like with TV, and then the different movie studios that are working on different properties. That I think it's telling, because I'm definitely more a Marvel kid than I am a DC kid. But I think it's really telling that even a character like Aquaman with one press photo can garner a lot of attention. There was a lot of commentary happening when this one
Mhm.
photo dropped, and I don't know that you would have the same ravenous response right now in the Marvel universe, just because there's so much content available. If I put out one photo of the Guardians of the Galaxy, no one's really gonna. I mean, people care, but it's not. It doesn't garner the same kind of discussion that one press photo of Wonder Woman can bring to the table.
Oh yeah,
So
or
I think
the Ben Affleck first Batman was like shut down the internet.
exactly. I mean, I think that's really telling me. It's I think what Marvel has done is incredible in terms of continuity and creating a movie universe in much the same way that their comic books overlap. But you can't deny the long-term and high recognition value of the DC portfolio. Even down to an Aquaman. And there's a reason why. I mean, even as a joke, that was still a meaningful part of the show Entourage. I mean, I'm going to keep pointing back to this because this is like the closest we've ever gotten to any kind of actual Aquaman
Aquaman
stuff
movie. Yeah.
was out of the show. But even there, for it being kind of a joke or kind of a satire about where Hollywood is going with comic book films, that was still a legit commentary on the fact that Aquaman is a recognizable character for them to even include him as a joke.
I know. That's funny that yeah, his biggest notoriety was as a joke in a TV show.
But that
Yeah.
he's still high enough profile. He's still
Yeah.
high enough profile that made sense to include him as a joke. I mean, that's ridiculous. The only thing I worry about with the DC universe now is we're sort of getting all the gods out. We've got Wonder Woman and Superman and now Aquaman are all going to be impossibly powerful. And I worry. One of the things I really do like about the Marvel franchise right now is we've got some darker properties and we've got some lighter properties. And for as much as I love some of these DC characters, my favorite character is still the Flash. And I love the Flash TV show, and now we're going to have some confused Flash setup for the movie. And
Yeah.
I know we've got this multiverse thing that we can kind of reconcile all this stuff down to at some point, but I want to see a DC movie that's not hinged on this Batman angst or this Batman dark. I just one character. If it could be a Green Lantern, great. If it's the Flash, awesome. If it's Booster Gold, you can make me a
Oh,
Booster.
dude, if they ever want to do a Booster Gold Blue Beetle movie, sign me up. I will
Dude,
watch that any
seriously.
day
I
of the
mean, like,
week.
think about taking those characters and doing something akin to what Marvel did with Guardians of the Galaxy. I just need something that it's not about world-ending calamity done at the darkest, grittiest level with characters who are all jacked to the teeth and gritty and dark to my parents. Just one DC, just one character that can have a little fun or actually enjoy what it is that they are. It's not like
Maybe it's the Flash. We'll see. We'll
I mean,
see.
like, I think the Flash is you could do 100-minute movie. He foils one bank robbery. You set up Gorilla Grodd, and it's like the Fast and the Furious, but it's because he's a dude that's fast. I mean, just an over-the-top, big, dumb, bright, shiny action flick. We get some laughs. We can munch down some popcorn, and I have a brilliant time. So
Yeah,
that's why I
that's
always
true.
point to Flash for that, because I think he's the perfect character to get away from angst.
Yeah, no. I definitely agree. We have a comment here from Kevin Stagg. What's up, Kevin? It's been a while,
What
man.
up, Kevin?
And he goes, mixed feelings about Aquaman. Always thought only superheroes more lame than him was Plastic Man and perhaps the Wonder Twins. Um,
Yeah, Plastic Man's gone through some
he,
odd writing choices too.
yeah,
I
and
kind of
Wonder
see what
Twins
you're
I
saying.
never liked. I just
I
never
never,
liked the Wonder Twins.
well, I never really counted them. I always kind of felt that they were the influence of the Saturday morning cartoon Super Friends
Friends, yeah, sure,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
No, but I
But
mean,
but but Plastic Man, you can do something really interesting with Plastic Man. Like I really like what I because I've talked about this a lot. The Dark Knight Strikes Again
mhm.
of introducing Plastic Man that way. So I mean, there's potential there to do something really interesting with a character that was traditionally sort of regarded as being the one who would sell Twinkies, on the advertisements in your comic book.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing is, Kevin Stark just mentioned Shazam will be huge with kids. I think that is probably their first major fun flick.
I think that's another great. I mean, especially in the way that you can do Spider-Man stories, Spider-Man style stories with a God-powered character.
Character, yeah.
I absolutely agree. I think there's wonderful opportunity there. It's just whether or not they capitalize on it, or whether or not they decide to push the character too dark.
No, I think they will, but I think they have a hard choice there with casting. The main problem with that is not the kid you cast.
Mm-hmm.
It's who you cast as Shazam, because I think The Rock can play that role very well.
I was really surprised that they latched him on for Black Adam, because there's a beautiful childlike wonder that Dwayne Johnson can bring to some of his characters. It's a terrible movie, but the sequel to Get Shorty, Be Cool, is
Yeah.
one of The Rock's first non-action performances, and he totally steals that film away from actors like John Travolta and who, and it wasn't Rene Russo in that film. Who was the female?
I can't remember.
I can't remember. Anyway, but he totally steals moments away from that film because he plays such an honest, naive, genuine character. He just happens to be huge and muscly. But there are like two scenes in that film specifically where he gets information and you can kind of see these gears turn, and it's kind of a wonderful moment. And I think his ability to tap into that, something kind of silly. He's not afraid to make fun of himself. He doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah.
I think he would have been brilliant as Shazam. I mean, I'm stoked that he's Black Adam, because I think Black Adam is a mustache twirling, Machiavellian, over the top melodramatic villain. So I think he'll have fun with that too. But whoever you now cast as Shazam has to be able to go toe to toe with The Rock, just in terms of performance, and still has to be able to tap into a sort of.
Now, do you think he's actually going to play both roles?
Oh, I don't think so.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there.
And Kevin Stack, he was actually great as Tooth Fairy. Again, not a great movie, but his performances have always been on point.
Yeah.
Performances have always been solid, and in a way that I don't think many other professional wrestlers have been able to manage that transition nearly as well. There's still some other wrestlers that I like to watch in other media, but Dwayne Johnson became a true crossover.
Yeah. Joseph Hampton says, I believe it was
Uma Thurman. It absolutely was. Thank you, Joseph. That was going to drive me crazy, and I wasn't too lazy to type imdb.com.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree, and hopefully those, at least even if it's those two, Flash and Shazam, bring out comic relief, and I think if they want to balance it, and if they take the New 52 approach and have Cyborg be the most human of all of them, that would be most telling. Then you have a balance, at least, to all that, godlike, angriness all over the place, type of thing. One thing I wanted to talk about quickly before we round up is, I know you watched the Flash TV show, and have you finished it to the latest episode?
No, I only got to see the tease on Gorilla Grodd. So wasn't there one episode after that, or?
Which episode did you watch? What happened in the last? Sorry, the tease, as in, what was the tease you saw? Was it the tease as in the trailer, or in the sewer?
Yeah, was that the last episode?
Yes, that was the last episode.
Okay,
with the general, right?
Yeah. Then I'm
yes. All right, so my question here is this: is the way that show has gone, and the fact that it's just like taken off, and literally, I think it's the best comic book show on TV. Period. Do you think DC is looking at that and saying one or two things? One, okay, here's our template of at least how we can get the feel of the Flash for a movie. Or two, let's not follow that template because we don't want to confuse people.
I mean, like, the thing I like about the Flash is that it's sort of a refinement of a couple different DC properties leading up to this point. I mean, if you think about it, Smallville was a really interesting retelling of the Superman story.
5 seasons, yes, that's about it.
Yeah. I definitely agree that it way overstayed its welcome, but it managed to do something with Superman that I didn't think we'd be able to do after a show like Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
Where we're talking about relationships, we're talking about people, a little less so the superpowers and the crime fighting. So then we move into a show like Arrow, which brings us back to the crime fighting. I mean, that show is their action spectacular. And I think then Flash, you get the ability to kind of take risks. So you've already sort of proven this production method with Green Arrow, and
Yeah.
now we can go off the rails and do wacky stuff with the Flash. Superpowered individuals who can control the weather or teleport, and then talking gorillas and
Yeah.
time travel. And I mean, you can take that to a complete an absurd level. I mean, in a way that even Gotham can't replicate the absurdity, because they're trying to keep it grounded in a Batman style universe.
Yeah.
So what I'm kind of hoping is that they're looking at the success of properties like those, but I don't think that that's gonna overly influence the production team that they have on tap now for the films. I don't think guys like Snyder, I don't think guys like Christopher Nolan, I don't think the writers that they're working with are looking at TV and thinking, oh, well, that's popular on TV, we should try and incorporate something like that into our film series. I think they're all tours, so they're looking to control the movie experience within, I mean, the confines of the DC
Yeah.
production and Warner Brothers. But I don't think that, this is why I'm a little concerned about having different versions of these same characters existing at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think they're working together on this, and I think at some point we'll have to have a crisis event.
No, they actually are. It's the weirdest thing. It's Joseph, I think, is it Joseph Love, who's controlling TV, and he has also creative input on the movie first, because his job is to literally say, you can't use this, you can use this, and
Right.
this is what we're using. So when he talked about the crisis event, he kind of looked at it as in, yeah, it's possible. It's almost like there are certain characters they're placing, and I think the reason why they pick Flash is because he can time travel, or
Yeah.
that is probably the reason why that character is there. Compared to everybody else who, you can't necessarily replicate Batman, and putting Superman just becomes chaotic.
Yeah.
In
No,
its own right.
I just thought it was funny. Well, one, I think you're absolutely on point. It makes sense from a perspective where, this is the character. I mean, they even have little hints of like his treadmill and stuff like that.
Stuff like that, yeah,
exactly. It makes a lot of sense to sort of hinge that on Flash, but it's still kind of silly. And I also just think it's kind of silly. We made a big deal out of like, oh, there's time travel happening in the Flash. It was like, yeah, from the pilot they explained that time travel was happening in the Flash.
No, it is, but the thing is that they've introduced it slowly. But what they've done in Flash that I love, Flash and even Arrow too, and I know Kevin Stack said he checked out Arrow. He was like, man, give it time, watch it. It's all about the history of a guy who has really no history. Nobody reads the comic book, so know.
And also, I mean, like, I'll also give it up that even getting into later seasons of Green Arrow, which I really still do enjoy this show, you kind of can't shake the Batman light feel.
Yeah, it is. It is a Batman light.
So if that's not your bag, I mean, I can totally get why that might not be someone's bag. But I also think that even though they exist in the same TV universe, it's why I've really taken and really been enjoying Flash, is because it's a completely different experience, still within the same world or still within the same universe.
Yeah, especially also, yeah, you should definitely check it out, Kevin, because they do have the crossover episodes, and they talked about that going forward. It will happen every year. Mm-hmm. There will be 2 sets of crossover episodes, and it works very well. He also mentions, I love Gotham. The Penguin character is fantastic, and I always hated the Penguin. I do not love Gotham. I love Penguin in Gotham. Yes, I definitely agree. I'm just not too thrilled about throwing every villain in there at this point.
I'm probably somewhere in between you two guys right now. I'm actually I'm enjoying the show just for what the show is and what the show brings to the table, and I think the production design is amazing. So I'm right there with you. I think their character design, their character layout, how they're introducing these characters, I think is great. I think I'm a little worried that this show is going to start becoming one of those marking time shows, because there's only so much you can do before the introduction of Batman. And we've got a really young Bruce Wayne to contend with. So how long are we going to be able to continue milking Batman IP and Batman villains? We're stuck. I mean, seriously, we're just stuck, and we have to do a whole bunch of like tangent episodes that don't.
Really I mean, if they want to be sensible, they should just do 3 seasons, 4 tops, and just call it quits. I mean,
I
leave on a high
really think
note.
that this needed to exist as either something limited, or you shouldn't have been introducing name brand Batman villains to this point.
Yeah, you should have done a lot of the lesser guys early,
And just making up new stuff. What I love about Fish as a character is she's sort of a proto Batman villain. Batman villains are always like, either mob connected or tweaky psychological, or they've
Hmm.
got their hands on different types of like organized crime. And Fish is like the precursor, the lead up, the beginnings of a Batman style villain, And so I think there could have been some really wonderful opportunities in having more one-off villains that Gordon has to track down
Yeah.
prior to this explosion in just completely psycho villains, like serial killers and stuff like that before we get to Zaz, anarchists before we get to the Joker. I think there could have been a really wonderful way to kind of showcase Gotham as a world descending, becoming worse and worse and worse as these criminals get worse and worse and worse
Yeah.
before we finally get to a breaking point where Bruce Wayne takes the mantle of the Bat. And you could have told that story over like 3 seasons.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and it's just one of those things that Kevin agrees with you too.
Kevin's a very agreeable character, you'll find. He's a
and
pretty cool dude.
and he says he would check out Flash. Gorilla Grodd has him quit.
Peaked.
Sorry,
That's peaked.
did I say wow?
Peaked his curiosity.
Thank you. Sorry. Wow. Wow. Where did I see a W? My bad.
It's been a long week.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I know we transcended from Aquaman to Flash and some TV show stuff, which I know maybe we should talk about that more in other shows. But just quick final thoughts on Aquaman and what you expect. Oh, we do have one comment from the video on YouTube.
Oh, do it.
Iceman89 says, you guys know when the trailer will come. So when do you think a trailer will hit as you sum up everything?
What was the time frame on DC doing an Aquaman film? Did we have that in the chart?
Yeah, we did. Aquaman is 2018. And he says, Kevin Stock says, Batman greater than Superman. This is bullshit. Just take your stuff away,
I think Batman is definitely the more interesting literary character.
Oh yeah, literary character. Sure, of course, because he's whiny.
He's an actual person, and so
he's whiny.
Real flaws. You don't have to just make up weaknesses whenever you run out of stories to tell.
He's whiny, okay? If I was Batman, I would not be whining about shit. Exactly.
But there are actual things you can do with that character, as opposed to with Superman. It's sort of like a Dragon Ball Z problem, where it's like, oh, well, we need to solve this problem. Just make him more powerful for some reason.
That's why I love Dragon Ball Z.
We need to introduce a problem. Oh, let's give Superman. He's now weak to magic. Sure. You know what? You know what makes sense? He's solar powered. Right? He gets our power from the sun, so let's make him more like a battery, and he's stuck in the dark, and now he starts to lose his powers. Sure.
So anyway,
and like to go one more with Kevin Staggs, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm invincible, therefore I'm brave." And it's also the one of the problems I do have with Flash, and also with Superman too, is they're criminally negligent in how they allow bad guys to act.
Yes, they do.
Super fast. So there's a guy with like a heat ray, and he's blasting, the city, and the Flash runs into the scene and then stops, and then he quips, and then he lets the bad guy do it. It's like, you're super fast. You can travel faster than the speed of sound. They've already established that in the
that's
show.
been written in comic books forever, because Superman, like Flash is one thing. Superman's the worst. He flies in and he does this.
Go ahead and
punch me first. Let's see if I can take this. Oh, okay, that kind of hurt a little bit.
It was one of my favorite moments in Smallville. It's like the arrogance of a super-powered individual, where he's like, he sees someone shoot a bullet at him, and instead of like dodging or blocking or trying to get the guy with the gun, he goes to like, what does he go to catch it? And like, it's a kryptonite bullet. You're an idiot.
But that's the standard of fare, though. That's the thing. I
I'll
think
just sit here and let you shoot me for a while.
they've written that into comic lore like over so many years, right? That, like you said, Flash, Superman, especially with Flash, Flash should not even stop
No,
get into any scene.
just
You just
whoosh.
go in and go out. You're like,
And
afterwards
it's
you
the
can
Flash.
stand.
So like some dude's got like a flamethrower or something like that. It should be one beat to the next. You see a red blur, and then it's just a naked dude with no flamethrower. That's what the Flash should do every single time, instead of like, oh, let me stop and talk to you for a bit. I'm the Flash. That's crap.
Yeah, true, but you know how it is. You got to make some space for the show.
I know.
You got to have that in there. And Kevin Sachs says, take him to a red sun. He's screwed. Utility belt works everywhere if you can take him to a red sun in the first place. So. There's none really close around here.
Although every time I hear the phrase red sun, I want to go read the
yes.
Red Sun comics.
Although my best scene of a red sun Superman was where in Infinity Crisis where they tried to stop Superboy Prime, and regular Superman and older Superman had to fly him through a red sun. The guy still didn't even lose his powers, and he beat both of them up until like all the Green Lantern Corps came. That guy was demented. That guy was crazy. All because his girlfriend and planet blew up. Boo! It happens all the time. Oh, it happens all the time in DC Universe.
My girlfriend, my planet.
Oh, that's
my girlfriend, my planet got blown up. That's my impersonation of Superboy Prime.
I know. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for joining in. As usual, we've gone on a little tangent, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We have our weekly show, the weekly episode 5, I believe, coming up this Saturday. Sam will not be around because he is moving, so he won't be at the show. But we might have a special guest. Let you know. So stay tuned. Catch us at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course, because we love Juan and we want him to have some extra 30 minutes of sleep.
Oh, I can tell you how, it's sad how much that extra half hour actually did benefit. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I was like, oh, it's so much better.
Yes. So definitely check us out. And if you have any questions or comments about Aquaman, let us know. Leave it on the comments of this video.
Yeah, and just drop us a comment. Like, what do you think about this character design? How do you think he's going to fit into the DC film franchise? I'm kind of curious to see what our followers think about this reveal from Zack Snyder.
All right, cool. And thoughts on the trailer? We don't know. In terms of Aquaman, it's gonna be a while. If you're talking about Batman v Superman,
I hope it's a while. I hate way early teases.
Batman v Superman, we may not get anything till Comic-Con. The way they're going, I think Comic-Con is when they just drop it and just say, Marvel, do what you want to do. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thanks. Don't forget to subscribe to all the channels. Some Gadget Guy, follow him on YouTube. It is Some Gadget Guy. No, it's not Some Gadget Guy.
I mean, you can find me if you search Some Gadget Guy, but it's under my name, Juan Bagnell.
Yes.
Either way.
Yeah, and check us out on Board at Work, and that's pretty much it. And Kevin, thanks for all the insights and chiming in, man. Yeah, peace. Bye.